Hello, hello, Mr. Klaus.
Hello, Mr. Tom. How are you?
I'm good. Celebrating November today. Um, so how's everything on your side? How was Greece?
There is a no grow side. There is no play no ads advertising place on my for my beard, unfortunately. So there is nothing growing there. So yeah, Greece was super nice. Sunny weather in November and absolutely fantastic to have the sea for a last time this year. Fantastic. And
Well,
actually also
what's one thing people should explore in Athens? One thing, one tip. Do you have a tip for
of
us?
course there is the famous Acropolis, which is on a mount on a hill, and you have the best view from the old, like you see this ancient building, and you can have a view over the whole city, which is really amazing. So
Beautiful.
absolutely fabulous. And actually also the marathon was there, so you could also
Mm.
see 75,000 people running,
Oh,
which was
wow.
quite impressive.
Nice. Let's
Yes.
jump into today's topic at the Otterly weekly podcast. Hi, everybody, for joining in again. I think today we're gonna talk about some buzzword bingo topics. Klaus and myself spent some time catching up on the industry, some industry articles and topics. And Klaus, how do you feel about AIVO, GEO, AIO, AI SEO? Are you still, I mean, how do we even catch up and stay up to date with all of those abbreviations that are now being flooded on the internet around this new type of search engine optimization?
Actually, it felt a little bit like when I was in Greece, and it felt like the Greek characters, where I Ivo is the Ivopoulos. So, I think that there is a new era coming in search, and everyone tries to kind of place their personal terms there, and so everyone finds a new abbreviation, and one will stick, and it's a bit like when the times were with growth hacking, and then it became growth marketing and product growth and so on. So maybe it was less about abbreviations right now with AI, as it's such a short term. Also, people trying to find that out, but it was really funny today to see the list that you kind of collected. Maybe you want to read some of these terms that you collected for what we found about AI optimization, AI search optimization.
Yeah, let's digest together. So I'll start with the first one, which I think is the easiest one, which is called GEO, Generative Engine Optimization. So instead of search engine optimization, we are looking in the future at generative engine optimization. Um, then there is, which I cite from a CMS Wire article, AIVO, AI visibility optimization. I think we also understand that. Then there is LLMO, large language model optimization, which rather focuses on the respective LLMs, obviously. Then there's a broad term, IIO, artificial intelligence optimization. God, it's very hard for me. And I think last but not least, we have two more. AI SEO. I think that's the most uncreative one. It basically just puts AI before SEO. So AI SEO, AI search engine optimization. And then there is GAIO, which I believe stands for, but maybe correct me if I'm wrong, Google AI overviews or Google AI optimization. And there might be even a third variation of that. So um, I think if I get to choose, if the industry experts or the internet gurus ask me, so if I get to choose, I would pick GEO, Generative Engine Optimization. It sounds simple. Maybe it's too similar to GEO, geography. But that would be my pick. Klaus, how are you looking at all of those keywords and buzzwords?
So apart from that, my favorite is GAIO, GAIO, generative AI optimization. But just to kind of summarize what we maybe from all the buzzwords, everyone is a little bit feeling dizzy.
Yeah,
So what we're talking today about is that um, search engine optimization. So the thing that happened like long time ago, when you want to optimize your content for to be indexed and crawled and indexed by Google, and you appear hopefully in the first ranks in the first pages, even on rank on place position one. That's there is this big question of how do we have to change, how do we marketers have to adapt to be positioned in answers of AI. So not only
yeah,
ChatGPT or but also kind of search AI-based searches. And Google, as we already talked in our previous episodes about, came out with AI overviews, which is a summary from an LLM about the search results. And there you don't have like hundreds of links, and you cannot be, or maybe now you're happy because you're on page two of Google, but at the end, right now, with the new AI overviews, you can only be in one answer. And if you're not in the answer, you're out of the game. That's the problem right now. What many marketers think about, how can I
yeah.
bring my brand into the answer of LLMs? And that's has a new term which we were talking about. Is it let's right now we say it's geo generative AI optimization, and that's what our today's episode is
Yeah.
about. As you mentioned, the CMS Wire article, waving goodbye to SEO, why AI visibility optimization is the future. It was kind of interesting because the article started actually with a kind of a history, and it brought me back to my early days, as I'm already 25 years in this market, and I actually, started searching in Alta Vista.
Mm.
That makes me very old, or
I remember that as well. That must be early 2000s.
yeah. Absolutely. And then Google came out, and Google
Yeah,
started and Google started with this page rank, and that was the first kind of KPI where people started optimizing for, because before that you didn't know actually how the
yeah,
search worked. And I mean, no one think ever knew exactly how Google worked except for a few engineers, but you could learn a lot about SEO, and this is when people started optimizing content and so on and so forth. And now we have this new transition, and
yeah,
that is actually where I think that the new term comes into play, and everyone is wondering how will that affect
yeah,
my life as a marketer and my brand ranking.
yeah.
And
And,
yeah, talking about that,
and
what could you actually do? Yeah, and the article that we were mentioning from CMS Wire is nicely going through a lot um, of what is important, but actually it doesn't really answer the question of what should I actually do? And
yeah,
this is, I think, the most important question.
yeah. I mean, let's answer, let's try to answer that question, right? But before we do that, just to what you said, Klaus, I think is very important to emphasize on, which is yes, there is SEO, there's search engine optimization, and then there's this new kid on the block, as the article was describing it, which is generative engine optimization or AI visibility optimization. At the end of the day, it's about the effort of being found in those AI-powered search experiences. Be it ChatGPT, be it Perplexity, be it Google AI Overview. So we're talking the main difference I would like to highlight here is where are you, where do you want to be found, right? Google, SEO, right? AI-powered search experiences, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Google AI Overview. Then this new kid on the block comes around, GE, whatever you would like to call it. And it's just an evolution, right? It's an evolution on how we do SEO, to your point. But ultimately, the question is, how do you influence that ranking, that text that is automatically generated by AI, right? And that's why we built Otterly in the first place, because at the end of the day, everything starts with the monitoring, right? You have to start understanding how visible you are right now. You have to create a baseline out of your 100 keywords that you usually would monitor on the organic Google ranking. How many AI reviews are triggered? What comes back from an AI generated text on ChatGPT? What does come back on Perplexity.ai? So with the help of Otterly, we really recommend you to start monitoring. Step one, start monitoring, start understanding what's going on. I would like to make your question, how can I influence my visibility, very practical. So I brought to you today an example. So let me share my screen and we can take a look together on how we can optimize our own visibility. So if you're just listening to this, what I'm sharing here on the screen is the Otterly AI interface, where you can monitor any keyword for Google AI overviews, Perplexity, and ChatGPT. And in this case, Klaus, we're gonna look at some running and sports brands. I know you and I were super into running and sports, so big runners here. So I'm really curious to see for those type of keywords which brands do come back. And if we all look together at the analytics dashboard, we can already see some first KPIs, some first results. I'm monitoring here 5 dedicated keywords, 5 dedicated prompts to understand how visible certain brands are for those prompts. And as you can see, out of 5 keywords, Google is showing an AI overview for 2 keywords. So 2 keywords actually result in an AI overview being triggered. So let's take a look at what those keywords are. And
But Tom, maybe I quickly jump in that, and
sure, please.
you showed this dashboard of Otterly AI about the keywords that you or the prompts, however you see it, as many search keywords now become more like. Often people also refer to the new LLMs as answering machines, which is an interesting
Yeah,
thought.
yeah,
And one thing that also came from the article in CMS Wire was that, for SEO, we have a lot of KPIs, that we're looking at. But actually, in this new terminology, in this new way of tracking AI and answers from AI-based searches, we are currently missing the keywords, the KPIs, sorry. So that's also one thing
yeah,
that gets as an interesting area, and we kind of tried to figure out some KPIs that we can already show and help to analyze and to learn where your brand is. As we said, like the first step to understanding and to building something on top of it is to monitor it and to
yeah,
track it. And one KPI, for example, is how often do you see an AI overview for a certain keyword or prompt? Yeah, that's an interesting one, and I think we should also kind of dive into that, because what we also learned is from the AI overviews that we see. One problem is that many do not lead to clicks, like what you had in
yes,
former times, the
yeah,
click-through rate, like how many clicks do I get from a search engine? This dropped drastically. And this is also why so many marketers are talking to us, because they see the drop of organic search, the clicks from Google to their website.
yeah,
And so the new KPIs are a super interesting topic. And
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but sorry,
Just
let's
no,
continue.
totally. Thanks for highlighting that, Klaus. I think that's super important to emphasize on, because to summarize what you said, click-through rates are going down, right? Because of blue links losing visibility. Yes, there are citations and references in those AI-generated answers, but they were not so prominently positioned. And we'll look at some screenshots in a bit. Um, the Second factor is rethinking then the KPIs you are focused on, right? And focusing more on the brand position, the brand sentiment, those brand type of KPIs, because in that future, in that setup that you're describing, it also matters, and it matters so much more on how well positioned you are as a brand and as your with your products. So that's why we also, if you're looking on the video here, why you see the key KPIs, the number of brands and the number of sources and links per keyword are the two main metrics really that you already see here within your Otterly dashboard. But let's take a deeper dive from there on, right? So let's look at the top sports brands. So the keyword in this example, the prompt is top sports brands. It might be a super typical high intent keyword that people use on Google, Perplexity, and ChatGPT. So the first thing we're gonna answer to your point is there an AI overview available for this particular keyword, for this particular prompt? And as we can see here, yes, there is an AI overview available for this particular keyword. On a first glimpse, looking at it, we already see the text output, right? We see that the AI overview responded with some of the top brands that include Nike. So I already see here on the left, but also on the right-hand side that Nike is the first brand mentioned here as one of the top sports brands. And the text goes on and on. It's quite a lengthy text. And if you're more of a visual person, I'm more of a visual person, so I most often click the screenshot here to see how the response looked like in real life for our users, for our audiences when typing in top sports brands on Google. And as you can see, here's an AI overview with a list of Nike, Adidas, Puma, and so on and so forth. But let's go back. Otterly.AI comes in super handy because it's not only outputting the text and telling us there is an AI overview, but it's also telling us a first brand sentiment. And as we just saw, Nike was mentioned as the first one, followed by Adidas, but there is a different brand sentiment already described here. Interestingly enough, Nike only has a neutral brand sentiment, although it's described as the global leader in the sports apparel industry. Adidas, on the other hand, has a slightly different brand sentiment and reasoning in a very positive sense, described in a positive brand sentiment as a major competitor, as a top sportswear brand in the US. And yeah, in that sense, really described positively, followed by Puma, another major competitor, Jordan, Reebok, and so on and so forth. But what we're seeing here is if you are, for example, a brand marketer or a marketing manager at one of those brands, it will give you an indication of is the AI text response, the answer, correct according to what you were hoping to see or not. So to our first point, the brand will become a major currency, major KPI in that SEO game. We definitely see and provide some insights here already. But if you scroll down, we're going to take a look at some links because links still matter. We love links. We love organic traffic. We love traffic coming to our website. So while the click-through rate is definitely lower on a AI overview than in the usual organic ranking, we love those links and we love to optimize our own content and understand what's going on there. And yeah, I mean, Klaus, if you look at those source links, the first two ones being from Statista.com, Esquire, ISPO, Vogue, GQ, and looking at those titles, it all looks that listicle content is back in the game, right? Looks like took digital PR, traditional PR, and listicle content is the game to play. What do you think?
No, it's fascinating, and I really like first this visual approach because it's kind of hard to differentiate if you just have this like huge content and the when you basically look at the AI overview, you just get a long answer. Yeah, that's the first place. And I also where I started actually, where I got a little bit hooked up is still this KPIs. I love KPIs. I'm also a little bit sales driven, so KPIs matter to me. And what I saw now, and for just to summarize it for me, I saw currently four main KPIs that I could already extract, which means on the one hand, is there an AI overview at all? So that would be one. So currently,
Yes.
is the like because it also mentioned it is relevant if there is how the search term works, because it's, as I said, it's an answering engine. So if you search for something like a very specific product, you might not get an overview answer. And so AI overviews is KPI number one. The second is brands, which brands are mentioned in which ranking. So what does the AI over what does the LLM think about your brand and how high does it rank it? The source link, it was always the link juice that was mentioned in SEO, that was so important, all the backlinks that you get. And I would say that now it is more the source link juice that is relevant. So which source links, which articles give a good explanation or are the show why your brand has a relevancy for this prompt, this search term, and the sentiment. So
Yeah.
these are the four kind of
Yeah.
KPIs that are super relevant for AI overviews. So, and you showed that it's in Otterly.AI super nicely shown for each Google, Perplexity AI, and ChatGPT, which also launched their own search,
Yeah.
ChatGPT search recently, and will also kind of start. Maybe there is one thing that I wanted to add to the the so AI will not be one, like right now it's only Google, Basically
Yeah.
everything that is
Yeah.
search is Google. That's also
Yeah.
why you say I Google for something and it's in the dictionary. But I think that now more players will enter this market and they will have always a bit of a different LLM. So it will
Yeah.
also be important or there might be different approaches to that. What do you think about that, Tom?
Mm, so I think first, nobody knows if ChatGPT, Perplexity will take major market share from Google in the future or not, right? It all comes down to end user consumer behavior and how we as consumers are adopting those search experiences or not. But yes, I mean, SEO or the modern type of SEO, geo, gets way more diverse in terms of the platforms you optimize for. You're not no longer only optimizing for Google or Google AI overviews, but there's suddenly ChatGPT with various LLMs, right? And at the end of the day, we also have to separate the ChatGPT window our users use from the different LLM models, because depending on the LLM model, you might see different results. And the same thing on Perplexity, right? And if you are, it even gets more complicated, because if you are pro customer, paying customer of Perplexity, you get different LLM models to choose from. And the same thing on ChatGPT. And as mentioned before, as marketers, and that's why I'm not a fan of LLMO, right? Large language model optimization, because if you look at that topic or that buzzword, it primarily and only focuses on LLMs, how you get your brand into an LLM. But the reality is, ChatGPT is not only using an LLM training data and text output, but they are enriching it with web browsing capabilities. The same thing Google is doing with their Gemini model, and on top of that, they're gonna add web browsing capabilities. But I mean, the long story short is, yes, it's no longer only about Google, but also about other search experiences. And you have to, at the end of the day, when you start monitoring, and some of our customers who monitor for a couple of weeks and months now those keywords on those different platforms, they do see differences, right? They do see differences in terms of the link citations. They do see differences in terms of the brand mentions and how Perplexity is describing, for example, Nike and Adidas versus Google. So there are definitely differences, but I'm not a research expert. We are doing lots of research, but the general observation is there are overlaps in terms of link citations and brand mentions, but there are clearly also differentiations. And it's definitely worth spending some time diving deep into the different citations and understanding what is there and then how you can optimize that, how you can optimize your own content to be also in those links that were mentioned, and how you can add other links, optimize your own content to be also relevant for those search engines. So yeah, lots still to be changed and observed, but yeah, that's the quick take.
Tom, my opinion is that Google is currently really threatened by not only other search providers, but basically by every chatbot that is based on an LLM, because I believe that your car
Yeah,
driving and you ask the car like, hey, where is the next restaurant that is
yeah,
actually vegan because I'm vegan? It will bring up results, and
yeah,
it's probably maybe not based on Google. So
yeah,
they might use some databases, etc. But it will be an LLM that's or a chatbot that will replace a lot of the search topics
yeah,
because the answer is one clear answer. You don't have to go through hundreds of links and kind of read hundreds of pages behind that. Even like when I think about as was mentioned, I was in Greece and the question was like still we couldn't like just ask an LLM for hey, where
mm,
is the best restaurant for this and that taste?
mm,
We
mm,
want to drink some Negronis
mm,
and to bring us the best restaurant, which you had
mm,
still to Google, but that
mm,
will change. So
mm,
and then I think the optimization field will be get broader on the
yeah,
one hand. On the other hand, like looking just one thing that I want to add to because often the question or there is maybe a mix up also in the optimization on the search optimization that is currently done with
mm,
AI. So that means that we are optimizing for, let's say, the current Google, the old school
mm,
Google, with a lot of AI, creating thousands of content and so on, maybe even not so
mm,
high quality content. That's on the one hand, versus what we're talking about right now is like the optimization for the next generation of AI-based search. And I believe that this new AI-based search will struggle with the problem that the low quality content, yeah. So it also has to find the high quality. So I think that brand
yeah,
visibility will also come with much higher high quality content that is
yeah, yeah,
and brand authority.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that the AI
yeah,
understands that you are the right brand to pick and to listen to
yeah,
if you talk about a certain topic. Yeah.
yeah,
So I think
yeah.
that's very interesting.
100%, 100%. I mean, to summarize all of that, right? It's quite funny because on the one hand side, we talk about the disruption in consumer behavior, and now you mentioned the disruption on we generate a lot of content with the help of AI feeding into other LLMs, right? So AI is eating AI in a nutshell. But I my recommendation, if you're listening in to until the end here, is a few tips, a few maybe call it growth hacks, a few marketing tips. Yeah, listicle content is very popular these days because it's well indexed, it's well found on different AI models and LLM models, right? If you export all your links, so pro tip number two, export all your links from Otterly and analyze it further, compare it with your Search Console data, your traffic data, you will find lots of listicle content ranking quite high on Perplexity in Google AI overview. This is not sophisticated content, right? Let's be real. It's content that an AI can generate, that everybody can generate. So look at that, right? Maybe that's a way for you to be found better. But to your point, brand matters more. Yes, because brand matters more because an AI, an LLM model will never build new knowledge, right? It has to be us as brands, us as experts in specific industries to create new knowledge, uncover new things, do research, collect unique data points and insights that you have in your business, and provide unique point of views on that. And if you provide unique point of views as a credible source, as credible authors, LLMs will find you, will train their models on your content and enrich their models as well with your content. And again, you most likely will be better found and more visible in those overviews. That includes also how you are positioned on the internet, right? How are you positioned on Wikipedia? Do you have profiles on Wikipedia? Is your industry covered there? How so? And maybe there's a time to do Wikipedia marketing at the end of the day. Um, but yeah, those are, I think, just three little nuggets to summarize our conversation today, Klaus. And yeah, if there's one last tip, try out Otterly. As we've shown you a couple of features today. We're continuously building and expanding our capabilities to yeah, allow marketing teams to be ready for that future of geo, IVO, IO, GIO, whatever that buzzword will make it at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Amazing. I think that was a great ending sentence for our today's podcast, our weekly Otterly AI podcast. So hope you enjoyed listening to us.